Intravenous 2 is a text reading, neck snapping, light shooting, corpse carrying, interaction choosing, slowly stalking people from the dark while gradually realizing that shooting them in the face is infinitely more fun simulator. Developed by Explosive Squad Games and published by Hype Train Digital, Intravenous 2 is a top-down tactical stealth shooter with an emphasis on the stealth part, though a lot less than the game would try to convince you. This is more than apparent when I tell you that the game takes heavy inspiration from hardcore stealth games and immersive sims of old, like Splinter Cell or the OG Deus Ex. But then, the gameplay trailer on Steam shows your character mercilessly gunning down people like he's trying to rack up a Call of Duty killstreak. And it's stealthier and you might as well call in an attack chopper with speakers strapped to it. Now this is the type of stealth I can get behind. This is commando stealth. Stealth that adheres to the school of thought that nobody can detect you when there's a gaping hole where both their eyeballs should be. There is a story in this game. Despite not being very good at stealth due to my innate neurodivergence debuff, some of my most favorite games—
Talk about a story!
I did.
Properly!
Well, I suppose I can make fun of it, but only because I love my LobotomizeGang so much. Caress the like button if you love me too. Contrary to my initial expectations, a lot of focus is placed on the story of the game, which does little to conceal the fact that it's not particularly well written. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate the genuine attempt at delivering a narrative that could at times be considered intriguing, plot twists that could be seen coming from a mile away included. But I do find the writing here to be quite lackluster, especially the dialogue, which feels as natural as a gym bro who looks like the Hulk, claiming to be vegan and not on horse semen steroids. There was a moment that had me laughing out loud when a conversation between the main characters made me realize that we're playing as fully functioning adults and not sociopathic murderous teenagers. However, something tells me this is no fault of the devs, since the studio is based in Lithuania. But that's just my opinion, take it with a grain of salt, because, after all, I qualify myself as a creative writing journeyman at best, and according to that one guy in the comment section of my last video, I can't criticize something unless I'm an expert at it. Aside from the dialogue, Intravenous 2's plot is just intriguing enough for the prolonged talking sections to not bore me to death. It might even merit a few playthroughs when taking into consideration the multiple choices you can make during missions. Choices which I assume have effects other than this guy telling you to risk the life of your kidnapped father in order to adhere to his moral code. You do not negotiate with killers, he says, being a psychopathic mass murderer who tries to justify his immorality with the flimsy excuse of "I only kill bad people." Bro thinks he's Dexter. I'm sorry Steve, but you're Miguel Prado at best. There are even 3 characters to choose from, which, according to the devs, should alter the story in substantial ways. Okay, back to the game. Like I was saying, despite not being very good at stealth due to my innate neurodivergence debuff, some of my most favorite video games are ironically stealth games. Come to think of it, the fact that these games played a hand in the formation of my childhood explains why I follow women at night in an effort to protect them from bad guys. It doesn't explain why those women often yell, "I have mace," when they sometimes see me in the shadows. To which I often reply, "I have a gun, I don't have to get close to kill people." To which she often sprints in the opposite direction while calling 911. As if the police can arrive faster than I can catch up with the guy she's running away from. However, people running away is something you don't have to worry about in Intravenous 2. In fact, enemies actively run towards you upon detection and practically shove the barrel of your shotgun down their throats. True to their words, the devs did take a lot of inspiration from classic stealth games as well as immersive sims. This means enemies will react in a pretty realistic manner according to the environment and how you manipulate it. Well, as realistic as they reasonably can, considering many of them still suffer from the "I will investigate the suspicious blood stain by sticking my face in it, hoping somebody doesn't emerge from the shadow and snap my neck from behind" syndrome that seems to be very common in stealth games. But honestly, I have no problem with that. In fact, I sort of think being detected serves to enhance the gameplay, making it even more dynamic. See, as opposed to pure stealth games where getting spotted means the F5 key is getting smashed harder than an abusive stepdad on the night of his stepson's murder, Intravenous 2 revels in the chaos. Think of it as Hotline Miami without a shitty control and the pretentious plot. Also with crack cocaine instead of LSD. The game is at its best when you inevitably The game is at its best when you inevitably mess up and have to improvise your way out of sticky situations, which I admit happened to me more than I'd like to admit. Doing no small part to the damn door opening and closing mechanic that has the thing bouncing off of your bulging pectorals when you accidentally brush up against it. If you had just spent a little less time on the gratuitous gun porn, maybe you'd have more time to work on the actual mechanics of the game. Well, at least we can see where all the effort went. If you're a firearms enthusiast, you're gonna fall in love with this game. I'm pretty sure the devs know more about these guns than I do the back of my hand. Just look at all of these extremely detailed statistics that have basically no bearing on the gameplay whatsoever here. Look at it. Посмотрите. Maybe I'm just stupid, but I'm not sure what plus 1.5 controllability does when every enemy I shoot at with a starter pistol dies in one bullet. But at the end of the day, I don't know anything about guns. Where I live, children don't wear Kevlar to school. All in all, a very solid package. Some voice acting could do the game wonders though, especially with a plot like this one that involves a lot of emotional stuff about your father, what is evil, moral dilemmas and such. Normally I don't mind reading, but a solid performance in this case could bring the game to new heights, or at the very least elevate it out of its current lows. The game could greatly benefit from a "I have a very particular set of skills" line is all I'm saying. Being in possession of a second-hand laptop so old that I wouldn't be surprised if they found it when excavating the Pyramid of Giza. I have become well acquainted with indie games as well as pixel art graphics. One might even say that I have a soft spot for it, which could very well be true considering how much I absolutely love the art style of Intravenous 2. There's just something so charming about the character portraits looking like the devs went around the office to see if anyone is free for a photo shoot that day. In a world full of scummy game companies looking to take possession of our very soul, it's this guerrilla-style game development that brings so much joy to my little dead shriveled-up heart. Defibrillating, resuscitating, ripping it out of my chest, consuming it raw, absorbing every day to fuel their creative endeavors. As is the case for most indie games that are not soulless AAA digital garbage. What graphical limitations here exist only due to budgetary constraints and not lack of effort. For a game that places such a heavy emphasis on light and shadows as well as environmental interaction, the highest praise I can give it is that at no time did I feel the game failed to convey all the information I required. It goes to say something when you can tell at a glance where the tiny pixelated light switch is when the entire game looks like a live leak video filmed from a helicopter. Though, can somebody please tell me if this is a girl in the picture? Is this not a checked female? Or am I just lonely? Yes, the answer is yes. Should you play Intravenous 2? I say yes, provided that you don't mind patiently staring at people's ass from the shadows. I know I don't. Thank you to members of my Patreon. Special shout out to Oseyeris, Stefan A. Last time I said Stefan S, I messed up. I'm sorry about that, okay? Stefan A, Spyro, Otrael, Mouse Mangala, and of course PR. Subscribe and stay tuned to watch me wallow in unceasing madness. See you guys in your sleep.